Live from the studios at the University of Kansas, you are watching KUJH-TV News.
Pet bunnies. Reporter Becky Phelps tells us how one pet store keeps its bunnies safe around this time of year.
And KU and Notre Dame take the same advice. See what one building on campus has in common with the famous cathedral.
Plus, after several security concerns, students' school safety is a top priority. See what Lawrence High School's plan for their students' future. Welcome to KUJH News. I'm Cassidy Ragland.
And I'm Hannah Thurman. Those stories in a minute, but first, Lawrence police want your help as they search for a missing woman and child. They say 22-year-old Felicia Miner and her 3-year-old son Dominic went missing last night from the Haskell University campus. Officers also say the pair may be with an acquaintance named Trayvon Hale. Miner owns a white Chevrolet Cruze. If you see the car or any of the 3 people, police want to hear from you. You can call your report in through 911 dispatch.
Notre Dame has provided a place of worship for millions over the past 850 years. It's a structural icon. KUJH reporter TJ Rowe says it turns out the cathedral has a closer connection to KU than you might think.
2 degrees of separation. That's all there is between KU and the infamous Notre Dame Cathedral. The connection? Spooner Hall. Henry Van Brunt constructed the hall, and he was the first to publish collections of Eugene Emmanuel Viollet-le-Duc's design principles in English. Viollet-le-Duc was a French architect who restored Notre Dame after the French Revolution. KU Architecture Associate Professor Steve Paget says Notre Dame and Spooner Hall are connected through the architects.
Through his work, through Van Brunt's work, which is now still a living thing, if you will, on this campus, through Spooner, it's only 2 jumps until we've got to Notre Dame.
The Natural History Museum is resculpting its eroded limestone grotesques using the same process that Notre Dame will undergo soon. The New York Times says Notre Dame's architectural design left it with a finite amount of time before catching fire. The dry wood beams in the attic, along with years of dust and debris, led to the collapse of the roof and spire. But the rest of the stone structure withstood the fire. KU architecture professor Kent Sprecklemeyer says he is surprised there was nothing in place to contain the fire.
Had the fire continued to burn at high temperatures, that would have affected the ability of the stone to stand up. I was kind of surprised because I would have thought they would have had some system so it wouldn't spread so rapidly.
French authorities chose not to install fire safety measures because it's tough to preserve such a monument when applying safety regulation. In Lawrence, KUJH News, I'm TJ Rowe.
French President Emmanuel Macron says he wants to rebuild the cathedral in 5 years. Both KU architecture professors say that's a bit ambitious.
All right, when I was walking into the building today, I nearly got blown over by the wind. Is that going to be like this the whole weekend? Please tell me now.
Unfortunately, most of the weekend is going to have those high winds, Hannah, but it's going to feel absolutely gorgeous. Temperatures soaring up into the 80s potentially. So nice weather on the way. This evening, though, looks to be absolutely gorgeous as well. If you have any Friday night plans to be outside, it's going to be great. Earlier, though, I want to show you, we had some clouds that kind of popped up, those fluffy cumulus clouds. They look like cotton balls. That's what most people call them. That's caused of daytime heating, but they are gone, and we are just left with widespread blue sky. And again, windy conditions, overall really nice. You can see that's the blue sky behind me, 63 degrees for your current temperature. So just a little bit cooler. Might have a light jacket if you have any outdoor plans, but I want to show you the almanac to show you where we normally are for this time of the year. Normally we're in the upper 60s, so today we just are a little bit cooler than normal, but like I said, this weekend, big increase in temperatures on the way. Your headline showing quiet and clear for tonight, but this weekend will stay dry. Next week, rain returns to the forecast. I'll have more on that later on in the show. Hannah?
Recent cases of students bringing weapons to school prompted the district to propose new regulations for students to improve safety. KUJH reporter Andrew Collins takes a look at which regulations are in place and what is being proposed to the district.
On a typical day in Lawrence High School, students probably think about what they're going to do after school. But many parents, like Christina Grammer, are worried about safety inside the school.
I feel like with all the guns being found in the school is really starting to become a problem. I feel like, you know, they definitely need to do some more security measures to keep everybody safe.
In less than a month, both Free State and Lawrence high schools had students bring weapons to the school in their backpacks. The shock of these separate but related incidents prompted the board to create community conversations with parents and students at both schools involving safety. The meetings resulted in both long-term and short-term ideas to improve safety. Lawrence Public Schools Executive Director of Communications Julie Boyle says the immediate plans are to build trust between students, parents, and the schools.
A lot of the things that we're looking into and we can do immediately are more of adaptive solutions, making sure that there's a caring adult in the life of every student in the school, that they have strong relationships.
The adaptive solution ensures the students have an adult within the school they can trust. As for the long-term solutions, the board is reaching out to other districts to research effectiveness of metal detectors, clear bags, and student ID cards. In Lawrence, Andrew Collins, KUJH News.
The district says they are researching the long-term plan of clear bags and metal detectors for effectiveness, cost appearance, and durability.
The number of unwanted rabbits hits an annual high at Easter time, and a local pet store is taking matters into their own hands. KUJH reporter Becky Phelps is visiting Pet World. Becky, how are they trying to help?
Yeah, Cassidy, Pet World is the only rabbit rescue in town, and they're taking bunnies into their own hands, using fun family tactics to tackle a national issue.
Rabbits are the third most popular pet in America, and also the third most abandoned. The problem escalates around Easter when well-meaning friends and family give the gift of a bunny. Within a month, 80% of those bunnies are no longer with their new owners. Some stores do accept returns, but many of the bunnies end up in a shelter or on the streets. The Lawrence Humane Society does not accept rabbits, but Pet World does, even if you didn't buy your bunny there. Pet World is also battling the crisis by giving families a photo op.
People get their fix, so to speak.
The two-day event keeps gaining popularity, and store owner Sherry Emerson says they see better results every year.
What I was really surprised is that the more exposure that we would do seasonally, the fewer and fewer would mysteriously show up from other places as well. And that's when we started to feel like, okay, this is working, this is making a difference.
Even though the photo op is helping Lawrence, many pet stores in Kansas are still struggling. Veterinarian Natalie Beck says one driving cause is people don't understand how much care bunnies need, or even how long they live.
I don't know if people research a lot before. It's just like, oh, it's cute, let's get a cute little bunny. And they don't know how long they might be making a commitment to take really good care of this animal.
Some states are responding to this crisis by banning the sale of rabbits in pet stores, but Emerson says educating the public is the best way to keep bunnies safe.
So Easter, it's kind of just like that perfect window of opportunity to teach and expose and say, oh, you guys all love bunnies, come see the bunnies. And then while they're in line, I get to talk to them about the responsibilities of pet ownership and things like that.
The photo shoot is open to people of all ages, and Pet World can see up to 70 families per session. Pet World also offers summer camps to help educate the public about the right way to care for pets. In Lawrence, Becky Phelps, KUJH News.
That is so cute.
I know. I'm thinking that after this we should maybe stop by Pet World and check out those bunnies. But still to come on KUJH News, a former Douglas County schoolhouse gets a makeover. See what plans are in store for the century-old building.
And we'll show you how one Nebraska musician uses her music for the community. Stay with us.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Let me go home. It'll all be alright. I'll be home tonight. I'm coming back home.
One of the first public schools in Lecompton is getting a chance at a new life. Douglas County abandoned winter school in 1946. Since then, the nearly 150-year-old school has changed owners several times. KUJH reporter Angelica Costello is live in the newsroom. Angelica, what's the future for the old school?
The Winter family of Lawrence has been planning a renovation of its namesake school for several years. Now it's about to become a reality.
The building known as Winter Schoolhouse Number 70 was the first public school in Lecompton and one of 3 schoolhouses built in Douglas County in 1870. It held 27 students when the first set of classes started in 1871. The Winter family is restoring the school, hoping to bring the building back to life to create a space for educational learning in a historical environment.
We've always liked education. It's always been good to us, as has been Douglas County and Lawrence and Lecompton. So, you know, it's just another way to kind of say thank you and to give back.
The Winters say the schoolhouse will be an education center where people can talk about educational issues and come together to gain knowledge.
The plan is to have the building available for events. The thrust of the displays, we actually refer to it more as a museum, the thrust of the displays are about the history of education in Kansas.
Rockhill says there will be new additions to the building while also keeping its original design. The schoolhouse will have outdoor restrooms, a courtyard, and its original well. The school will host events for children where they can enjoy the history of the schoolhouse and what education was like in the 1800s. In Lawrence, Angelica Costello, KUJH News.
The Douglas County Commission has approved renovations to use the school as a museum and event center. The Winters say they expect all renovations to be complete by the end of this year and will open the historic schoolhouse to the community in 2020.
Well, after a very active middle of the work week and school week this week, things have finally calmed down, and it looks like today it's going to be a lovely ending to this Friday. Currently, we're at a temperature of 63 degrees. It is a little gusty, though, outside. 24-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so definitely, ladies, have the hair up in a ponytail. You're not going to have the hair down. And decreasing clouds as well. A lot of blue sky you'll see as we progress throughout the rest of the evening, and here's why. So this is a storm system that we had earlier this week on Wednesday, finally starting to push eastward out of the viewing area. You can see very tight lines right here, and that's what we call a tight gradient, which means very high wind speed. So that's why we're seeing those increasing wind speeds throughout the rest of the evening, but the good thing is temperatures will drop fairly slowly. We'll slowly drop into the lower 40s eventually by the early morning hours. We will get down to 40 degrees for our low. Pretty normal for this time of the year, and again, calmer winds. They will calm eventually throughout the rest of the night. Overall, pretty nice night tonight and very gorgeous weekend ahead of us. If you have any plans in celebrating Easter Sunday, maybe any Easter egg hunts, even the college students, go outside, do an Easter egg hunt. It's fun. 80 degrees for your high on Sunday with clear skies for most of the weekend. Now, Supercast is indicating we could have some rain towards the start of next work week. Very low chances on Monday night, not expecting much. Really 20% chance. Tuesday could become more widespread. That's when we could see light showers, not looking severe. Monday night, though, we could see some activity that could be severe. But again, both chances of rain are very small. Not going to expect much out of either. Extended forecast showing, again, beautiful weekend. I can't get enough of looking at this. 75 degrees on Saturday, clear skies. Sunday, though, we are going to see that increase in clouds as that next storm system starts to approach the area. Not going to affect temperatures, though. Still 80 degrees for Easter, and there's that very damp start to the work week. 72 for your high, but we will slowly dip down back to the 60s by Tuesday due to all of that rain kind of blocking out most of the sun and the warming. Eventually, though, by Wednesday, we will warm back up to 70 degrees. Really nice temperatures, and then by Thursday, 74. Looks like by next Friday, we'll have another chance of rain. Second storm system for that week, but temperatures will again return back to the 80s. Feeling like spring, Hannah.
Rock Chalk Park is buzzing with activity this weekend. Let's go now to sports anchor Ellen, who is at the park, and she's going to tell us what we have this weekend. It's full of action, giving you all the highlights from the relays and Big 12.
Well, the action out here is crazy, but the wind out here is even crazier. Coming up, I'll give you all the highlights from the KU relays and Big 12 tennis. Stay with us.
Hi.
Hi. Patience. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back. I'm live from a very windy Rock Chalk Park. Now, as you can see, the wind is going absolutely crazy out here, but nonetheless, we are here for day 3 of the 92nd annual Kansas Relays. So far today, Kansas has taken first in just 2 events, the women's 4x800 and the women's high jump. The rest of today's events will be qualifying for all of tomorrow's races, which start Biathlon, and junior Gleb Dudarev clinched his 3rd consecutive win at the relays in the hammer throw. Dudarev is currently ranked 1st in all of the NCAA and 12th in the world with his 72.3-meter throw. Both the men and the women placed 1st in the 800 meters last night. Now, there is a ton of action going on over on the other side of the park as well. KU is hosting the Big 12s for men and women's tennis. 3-seed Kansas took on 6-seed TCU earlier today. KU took the doubles point with seniors Janet Koch and Nina Kimniak's 6-3 win over TCU. With that win, the senior duo is holding on to their place as the 3rd-ranked doubles team in the NCAA. Kansas ended the day with a 4-1 win over TCU and will move on to play Oklahoma State in the semis tomorrow. Now, KU softball was supposed to play here at home this weekend, but as you can see, there's a lot of action going on at Rock Chalk Park, so they moved that series to Lubbock, and maybe for the better. Kansas pulled off a huge upset last night against 13th ranked Texas Tech, beating the Red Raiders 6-4. Now, that was the first time Kansas has beat a ranked team since 2016 when they beat 13th ranked OU at Norman. Now the 2nd series of that game will start tonight at 6. Now, Kansas baseball is also hitting the road to take on West Virginia. KU had the week off, but is coming into the weekend with lots of momentum off of a huge series win against Oklahoma State last weekend. You can catch that game tonight at 5:30. Now, for big news coming out of KU basketball, just minutes ago, DeSosa announced he is declaring for the draft. This comes just after the school announced yesterday morning they officially appealed his suspension. The NCAA handed down the ruling in February requiring DeSosa to sit out for 2 seasons because his guardian received payments to get him to Kansas. DeSosa says if his suspension is overturned, he will return to KU next season. That's all I have time for today. Back to you guys in the studio.
One musician is using her cello to soothe the minds and wag the tails of puppies up for adoption. This Nebraska cellist spends some of her afternoon at the town and country shelter performing its canine crowd. A local veterinarian says that music therapy helps calm the puppies and lower their stress response to new environments. With each stroke of her string, our furry friends doze off. She says she couldn't expect a better compliment from the audience.
Well, I love that.
That is just
Such a cute
adorable.
story. Another place we can go there too.
Sure,
we can go
great.
To Pet
Get
World
some
first.
bunnies,
Yeah.
get some puppies.
Perfect. That's a perfect day.
Great.
And good weather.
Yes,
too,
lovely weather
so-
for this weekend to walk the pets if you have any. It's
Yeah,
great.
I know. I really want to get one. I want to go on runs with it. The nice weather too. I mean, when I see people out, it's just so fun.
Be a
It's-
great weekend
yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that's all that we have for our news today for Friday the 19th.
To view our stories again or to share them with your friends, visit our website at tv.ku.edu.
And check us out Monday at 4 for the latest news, weather, and sports.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening.